Ladies and gentlemen, all rise. Court is back in session. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who I can always count on to be on my left, Mr. Drew Celestino.
Oh, you're flirting. You're flirting with a spoiler there. But more on that later. Sure.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well.
I feel even though our show is largely based on Daredevil,
Yes.
that our entire show has been leading to this episode.
More or in fact, in a weird cosmic symmetry, yes, this episode and then next week, which will conclude Daredevil.
Well,
back to back.
Not so fast yet.
We conclude Daredevil. I mean,
Well, no. Next week we're going to do the Watchmen discussion.
Ah.
And the week after that, we will conclude Daredevil. And where we go from there, dear listeners, is going to be some potentially interesting changes coming to the Devil's Duniverse.
Sure. That helps you.
But for the time being, let us stand on ceremony. Sir, opening statements. How was your week?
Eventful in many ways, I guess.
Yes.
Sure.
Games were ended and...
Yes, games were ended. For some people, games were thrown or something. On the same day, actually, for a lot of people. And I'm not one of those people, though. I don't know about the thrones and whatnot. And I made my long-awaited return to the gym.
The Gime.
I'm back at the Gime.
How's that going for you?
It's going. So the first day back, I want to say it was last Thursday. Yes, last Thursday. And, the first day back was pure hell in a way. I'm starting from square one again, which is terrible. Yeah. I've lost so much strength, and I'm kind of starting over on my program, back to just starting over again, back at the beginning. So Reset all your weights back and start doing your sets again, and then just incrementally increasing. So after the first day, the first day was fine, but then the next day, the day after that was oh God, my legs are jello. I'm just a mess. I hurt. I'm sore.
Can't skip leg day, bro.
You never skip leg day because you squat every day. So yeah, that really was not fun. And then the day after was worse, which I should have known. So I went to Endgame, a sore mess. Basically,
you're heal me, Marvel.
Yeah, more or less.
Heal me.
But the day after that, even though I was a little still feeling it, I went back to the gym, and I was kind of okay, well, A day, B day, so I don't do the same exercises on A day and B day except squatting, which you're supposed to do every day. So I'm well, I'll get my other stuff out of the way. Got the other stuff out of the way, and it's do I want to squat? Do I not want to squat? I don't know. I'm kind of feeling So I manned up, and I got in the squat rack, and I did just the bar to start, and it was kind of you know what? That wasn't too bad. I'm feeling limber.
Mm-hmm.
Loaded up. Put the weight on. Totally fine. Got my stuff in. Felt fine. Absolutely fine. And then general soreness has been decreasing day by day. So I went today, and I'm fine. Increased the weight again. I'm kind of back, even though my numbers are low and weak, and being at the gym is an existential crisis unto itself when you are amongst the shredded and jacked, and you yourself are not shredded and jacked, but you're aspiring to be. It's a very weird existence, but I'm there, so that's a win unto itself, more or less.
Cool.
So doing that. I finished off Umbrella Academy this week.
Yeah, how was it?
I would, if you haven't started, you should watch it.
Cool.
I would get rolling on that. It's good.
All
it's
right.
very good, and it got renewed for another season, so you're going to want to watch that. It's definitely... It's a very high quality show for Netflix, I would say. In terms of budget and effects and stuff.
Yeah.
it never looks bad, and there's some pretty, like, I'm going to air quotes, elaborate effects in it.
Okay.
And it's a cool story, and it plays with tropes and conventions that, as comic fans we know and recognize,
Are familiar with.
but in a different way.
Yeah.
So, I give it a big recommendation. I think it's pretty cool. So if you haven't started, you should. I think you'll really enjoy it, actually.
And you've never read the books.
I have not. So obviously now it's kind of like, maybe I should. I'm curious now. And I want to say, no, never mind. I want to say Jay Gelsomino told me to read that a while back, but he was actually talking about Deadly Class, which...
I was telling you to read a while back, too.
Yeah,
That's
but
good.
That's Rick Remender, though, so...
Yeah, but it's Rick Remender on something he created. Not
Yeah, I've heard that before about one of his things, and I hated it. Was it Fear Agent, I think it was, or something like that? I forgot, but yeah, me and Rick...
You were probably reading it going, can't believe you took Captain outer space.
This was pre-Cap, and it wasn't outer space, it was some other dimension, which was
Don't
weird.
justify it by explaining it.
Amen. Anyway, so let's see. That happened, and then Saturday was Endgame, which we're going to talk all about today. So heads up to your listeners. If you haven't seen Endgame, you better shut this off right now.
Well, no, not yet.
Well,
if you're familiar with our show, we will let you know
up,
when the spoilers are coming.
Sure, but man, if you haven't gone yet, what are you doing?
Well, maybe they couldn't get tickets because that's a very
Fair
real, legitimate
point.
Like I said, on the way here, I pass a movie theater and the parking lot is full.
That's a very fair point.
It's Tuesday night, folks, and that movie theater parking lot looks like a Friday or Saturday night.
That's really about it for me. Just gym, Endgame.
Cool.
What more is there? I'm sitting here waiting patiently for my new guitar to arrive so I can start doing guitar tracks for the Long Cold Dark album because bass is done, drums are done. So it's just a holding pattern until I can start getting guitars done. So
cool.
Piece by piece, day by day, baby steps, sometimes literally.
Yeah.
See what I did there?
I see what you did there.
Good. How was your week?
My weeks, let's see. Going back, the weekend was fairly busy. Nothing much happening throughout the week. Friday night, I unfortunately could not attend game night. Did you guys do game night Friday night?
We did not. We stayed in, and that's when I finished off Umbrella Academy.
Okay. Could not do game night because
I got another story for you when you're done. Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead. I really haven't even started.
No, we'll take turns.
Okay. So Friday night, my wife and her sister took my mother to the Cher concert. Which was her 70th birthday present. Now, I am by no means a big concert goer. We've covered this.
Yes.
So they have dinner at Chef's, and then they went to the concert. Their seats were in the 300s. Now, you and I have both attended multiple events at,
KeyBank Center.
KeyBank Center.
Yes.
There's not a bad seat in the house.
For
sporting event,
most
things.
Yeah.
There's not a bad seat in the house.
Correct.
So they are, I think, 3 rows back from as high as you can get in 300s.
Mm-hmm.
I get a text message from my wife saying, we've got a slight problem. We're all a little scared of the height. And I'm just like, okay. I'm,
are you gonna, do you plan on jumping over the railing?
Being compassionate. I'm like, okay. Inside, I'm like, for the money we pay for those tickets, you sit down and you enjoy that show.
You have a chair, and you're nowhere near the edge.
But I guess from what they said, a lot of people had those complaints as well. Dude, everyone's different.
Man, they never would have survived the oranges at the Odd, man.
Yeah, well, no, even I would
because
never.
That was almost straight down because the seats were at such an angled pitch. It was insane.
Yeah. So fortunately they were able to get seats lower. Cher played for an hour and a half.
Okay, that's pretty standard.
And is it though? Because Guns N' Roses last year played for almost 3 hours.
That's apples and oranges, though, man. I think.
But see, here's the thing. She was telling me about this. She's like, And like she would go into a costume change. While there was a costume change, she'd play a video about her history. I'm like, are you going to a concert or are you watching behind the music? What's going on?
Carl, are you familiar with pop music? There's not a lot of performance going on.
Well, I mean, it's Cher. She's, her place in the Hall of Fame is guaranteed.
Well, full disclosure, I mean, she's 72.
She is 72, and that is a valid point. She is more...
I mean, she was born 72 years ago, technically.
She's more machine now than man.
Absolutely.
Twisted and evil.
You know this.
So yeah, that was... So I was home with William Friday night. Saturday, we just kind of chilled out during the day. Saturday night, I got to play a really fun new board game with my friend Adam, Lord of the Rings Journey to Middle-earth.
Okay.
Very interesting app-led game.
Okay. Took me a second to realize what you meant, but okay.
Yeah, the direction of the game is dictated by an app that you put on like an iPad or what have you. It was a lot of fun. Really interesting. Look forward to playing it more. It's kind of like you play it in chapters.
Okay.
So we had a good time. I was Legolas because I'm so pretty.
Sure.
The pretty elf. The archer elf.
Sure.
Just always baffles me how like that aspect of geekdom is you just don't care about it at all.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Carl. Swords in Middle Ages, it's people were very dirty in the Middle Ages. There were no bathrooms or plumbing. I don't want to bask in that.
Fair enough.
like these romantic scenes are happening. I'm just thinking like, that woman hasn't wiped her butt in days. Bro, you're in for a shock.
So Sunday we went to church in the morning, and then Endgame was at 2:30.
So back-to-back church.
Yeah, kind of. And then we went to dinner. We, went home and we went and got William, picked him up. And then I was one of the people who did the double duty, no pun intended, on Sunday of Endgame and then Game of Thrones.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Game of Thrones wasn't great.
Okay.
Like, some people were immediately online. Like, it had good moments, but ultimately didn't live up to the hype for me, per se. Wasn't a bad episode.
Okay.
It was rarely a bad episode of that show, but it wasn't what I was kind of hoping it to be.
As a total, I don't know a thing about it. It's just a general question based on where the show seems to be going. Do you feel it will stick the landing?
It's a very difficult question to answer.
I feel like it would be.
Post Endgame.
Okay.
Like,
do you feel the bar has been raised?
Literally, before Endgame, I would have said, with that much expectation, that much buildup, it's going to be impossible to stick a landing that will satisfy everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw a landing stuck that satisfied pretty much everyone.
Well,
we'll get to that. So it'll be interesting.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Just curious.
So that was Sunday, and then, back to work and whatnot. So that was my week's. Dear listeners.
I had another story.
Oh, yeah, you got another story. Go ahead.
So my left, I think I explained this to you and Alan on in our chat. So my left D-pad button on my DualShock died.
Oh, yeah, your PlayStation controller.
So that, as you might imagine, is very frustrating.
Yep.
So I'm thinking about like, all right, well, what do I do? $60 a pop for these things, or $45 if you're lucky. Yeah. I'm not looking to buy a new one.
Do you feel like Clark Griswold in National Lampoon's European Vacation? I cannot get left. Look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
No. But I don't want to drop money if I don't have to.
Yeah.
And I have another controller, so I was like, okay, well, at the very least, I can use the other controller, and at the very least, I have the aluminum thumbsticks on my main controller, which has the button problem. So I'm like, well, I'll put the sticks on my other controller because I like them. So I'll open them both up, and then while I'm in there, maybe I'll clean the contacts off with a little alcohol, and maybe it'll work, right? So I discovered a few interesting tidbits about the PlayStation 4 controller. So for one, I opened both of them up. And my main, which is a launch model controller, came with the console.
Yep.
Interesting observation. It has a blue circuit board instead of a green. You expect to see a green circuit board. Blue. My other controller must have not been a launch model controller because it has a traditional green circuit board. Same serial numbers, same pretty much everything, but different colored PCB. Weird.
Does the color make a difference?
Not really. From what I read, I did because I'm not. Once I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, I want to know why." So I started Googling PCB colors, and apparently, historically, they were actually okay. Did you ever open up like an Atari controller or an old something like an old piece of technology with a circuit board, something like pre-1985? In your recollection, have you ever seen the brown yellow ones?
No.
Okay.
It was always green.
Old Atari ones are like brownish yellow, which is actually their natural color. So they dyed them green at a certain point. They realized they dyed them green because it's easy on the eye, and when quality control people in the factories were looking at them, going down an assembly line, like going down a conveyor belt, they could more easily, number one, they could stare at them all for a longer period of time because the color was more soothing on the eyes, and all of the leads and the components showed up better against green, so they could more easily spot problems. So it was kind of interesting. Anyway, that's not the real meat of the story. So the meat of the story is, in all my years of taking apart controllers, I've enjoyed doing this for a long time since I was a little kid, and I realized I could open up a controller and see how it was made and stuff. Buttons, your D-pad and your buttons have always, in my experience, been on the main circuit board of the controller. You open it up, there's the board, and you can see the contacts right on the board.
Yeah.
Not so with the DualShock 4.
Do tell.
So you open up the DualShock 4, and there is a circuit board in it, and obviously because of the stupid LED light and the USB charging dock or whatever port, that's on the back side of the shell, which is connected to the board via a ribbon cable. So you got to carefully disconnect the ribbon cable because they're a little fragile. And then on the front there is your board. Okay, there's your board. So I begin dismantling. You got to take the battery off. Oh, different batteries too between the two controllers, which I thought was interesting. Same serial number, but different font and slightly different plastic colors. So weird manufacturing process.
Is one longer lasting than the other?
That'd be a good question to test out, which I will now do because I'm using the other controller now. So we'll see if it lasts any longer because the battery life on those is abysmal. Anyway,
yes.
So I open up the thing, and if once you take the battery off and you disconnect another ribbon cable, which connects your touchpad and it basically connects the touchpad to the motherboard.
Okay.
The main circuit board. Disconnect that very gently, and then you take the board out, which is soldered by 2 wires to each of the vibration motors. You got to be careful there, so you don't want to disrupt that. Okay, the buttons are not on the board. There's a plastic frame that sits in front of the board, and on that plastic frame is a thin piece of plastic. Carl, it is... Yes, it's this thin. I'm handing you a piece of paper right now.
Yeah, that's pretty thin.
It's that thin PCB ribbon strip that has the buttons on it. It's so flimsy. It's like, I can't believe this is what they're using for face buttons. They're going to get used a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just this it's this flimsy PCB ribbon thing. So I was flabbergasted. Cleaned all the contacts, tried it out. Left button was still broken. Okay, we're screwed, right? No. I ordered a new one of those PCB things for $3. $3 whole. It came yesterday. Took the old one out, put the new one on, which is a kind of a tricky process, but I did it. And sure enough, back in business, the other controller works again. $3 repair. New controller, $60. New repair, $3 in about 15 minutes of my time. I'm back in business.
Alrighty.
So, yeah. Fun.
Nice.
Fun with DualShocks.
Fun with stuff.
The irony is, even though I find this ribbon PCB thing to be really cheap, I can't believe that's how they do it. That being said, still a better D-pad than the Switch Pro controller. Which hurts me. It hurts my soul to say that.
I know.
But it's true.
Well, as riveting as that story was.
Hey, I'm just sharing some knowledge about PlayStation controllers.
Riveting.
Yes, I see.
And to point out.
I see.
We must move on.
Okay.
Dear listeners, if you would like to tell us your own controller disassemble story.
Yeah. It's fun.
If you would like to share with us any comments or questions to the show, you can do so at the following locations. You can follow us on Twitter at DevilsDoPod. You can like our page on Facebook at facebook.com/DevilsDoPod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. That being said, Drew, we do have some emails.
Well, all right.
First one coming from Mr. Cyrus Moore. Greetings, gentlemen. Hope you are well. I'm currently recovering from my weekend. I ended up watching Endgame and the new episode of Game of Thrones back to back because I'm an idiot.
No, you're just a fan, man. It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. I did the same thing. I can't wait for your review to hear your thoughts. I know Carl probably needed a whole box of tissues for several parts.
Mm-hmm.
Valid. I don't have a question this week, just a quick anecdote from a topic last week pertaining to Mortal Kombat, how game mechanics can interfere with storytelling. Drew is absolutely right. We don't.
Go on.
Cyrus, we don't need to fan those flames. Especially in Mortal Kombat. My favorite game in the series, MK9, introduced the new X-ray attack, now called Fatal Move.
Yes.
Once executed, you stab, impale, break bones, and otherwise horrifically maim your opponent, only for them to get back up and continue fighting.
It's true.
I've seen some of these fatal blows.
They're brutal.
You kill the person like 6 times in them. 'Tis but a flesh wound. In MK11 story mode, a daughter can perform this move against her mother in a sparring match. Air quotes. To say this strange suspension of disbelief is a massive understatement.
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
It's Mortal Kombat, man. You just got to let it go.
Yeah. They're not concerned with being...
No,
that's fine.
It's part of the charm. I gotta be... See, the thing is, especially when it comes to letting stuff like that go.
Yeah.
When we talk about Endgame later, that's actually kind of a big part of enjoying it. You got to let some stuff go.
Oh, there was some stuff that I had to let go.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get that. Okay, now on to Mr. Alan Waiters. Where you at, Jay? Just saying.
Not for nothing. He finally saw Captain Marvel. To which he now is like, I have to see Endgame now. And he's on a timeline because his daughter will be born any day now.
They're supposedly seeing it tonight. But as I was speaking to him at work, things have started happening.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, here's hope. Fingers crossed that they are seeing it as we speak.
So, I mean, it is not the movie. No, not the movie. Is Jay in the Endgame now?
There's only one scenario in where he wins.
Well, I mean, no, he's going to win regardless. But let's call that one scenario the one where he sees the movie. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh boy,
we'll call that one.
Okay.
All
Good
right,
luck, Jay.
Now for Mr. Alan Waiters, Carl and Drew. Do you think that spoiler culture has gone too far? Recent events have people blocking, fighting, and assaulting each other. How long do you think it should be before something gets spoiled?
Ooh, this is a tough one.
I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, I think, is like.
Okay. I agree with you in principle. But as we both know, it can be hard. Luckily, we got it in there as soon as possible. But especially now, both you and I, we know with children,
life sometimes does not find a way.
It's tough, and for people who don't want to know, it's hard, and you can only avoid so much on the internet. And believe me, I tried. I was steering clear of a lot because I didn't want to get spoiled.
No LaShawn McCoy Twitter.
No. What a jerk. Which I knew before this, but this is just more evidence. Like, that guy's a jerk. Anyway, I hate to say it because, I don't want to. If you spoil something intentionally for someone, you're a jerk. I mean, that's just unequivocal. Yeah. You are the worst. However, there is a certain time limit where it's like, dude, this is on you now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to get out there.
And I think 2 weeks is that good. Like,
I think you're being too generous. I think like a week, like 7 days, and on the 7th day, the spoilers commence. Like, I don't know. You got especially for like an event like this.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
It's an event like this. Like we said, the tickets might be hard to come by.
They might be, but you find a way.
Yeah.
Take a day off. I don't know.
Okay, Carl. Do you think human beings are losing their humanity since studies show that humans are having less interaction with each other and less empathetic to each other with O and R2 engage? I think he just has a typo here.
Okay.
Are to engage with technology like smartphones, tablets, and Alexa. I don't think we're losing our collective humanity. I think that we are seeing, for the past decade, we've been seeing a massive shift in how we interact with technology. And this shift is not unlike what has happened previous times throughout history when there was a massive influx of new technology. There's an adjustment period, and then it just becomes part of normal life. I think we also have to take in generational perspective into account. Myself, Alan, I think Alan's kind of in the same ballpark, and Drew, you're in the same ballpark. We're Xennials. We're not Generation X. We're not Millennial. We were the last generation to not have technology as we know it today, and the first generation to have technology as we know it today. So we understand kind of the benefits of both. We have an appreciation. We have more of an appreciation for the technology we have today because we know what it's like to live in a world without it. Those who are younger and have not grown up with that and have always had this technology, they're growing and learning to adapt in a world that has that technology. So I don't think we're necessarily losing our humanity. I think our humanity is adapting to the changing world around us. Now, granted, the advancement of technology is happening much, much quicker than it ever has before in history. I think that's definitely something to take into consideration. But at the same time, I think we will find a balance. We will find and the same things happen. Like as you get older, the stuff that was super important to you at one point in your life is not as important anymore. That is just as much tied to technology as it is anything else.
I don't disagree with anything that you're saying, but
for what grinds my gears.
No. Just as a point of clarification, though, that new normal because to kids it is just normal. However, phones and the ability to live in your own little bubble all the time is having a major detrimental effect on humanity as a whole.
Yeah, I'm not saying the effect is positive. I'm saying that we're going through an adjustment period.
Oh, and how? And depression rates and stuff amongst young people are like the highest ever reported. So it's going to be rough.
It will be okay.
I hope so.
Drew.
Yes.
How do you feel about the recent Simpsons episode that focused on our hometown and upstate New York? I actually haven't had a chance to watch this yet. Have you?
I haven't seen the episode, but I saw the song.
Okay.
I mean, it's scathing. It's brutal. It's brutally scathing. It's also not really wrong. So, I mean, do I like it? No. But it's not wrong. So, what am I supposed to do with that? It's one of those things, man. Like, unfortunately for, us here and that are upset about it, all humor, well, most humor comes from at least some partial truth. And whether or not you can accept it and laugh at it or choose to be upset by it, that's kind of on you.
Yeah.
So, it was a little rough, but not wrong. Although I would encourage, maybe someone on the writing team to live here for a little while, just to kind of get the feel for things. But then again, like I said, not necessarily wrong. So yeah, I'm fine, but I understand when people would be upset about it.
All right. Makes sense. I'll probably try to watch it tonight. Okay, so thank you both, Alan and Cyrus, for your contributions, as always. Brings us the end of cross-examination. Now to the case files. We're really two stories to talk about. One... True.
Oh dear.
Oh
dear.
We got a trailer today.
Oh yeah. Yes, we did. We did.
We got our first look at the Sonic the Hedgehog live action film. And oh boy, what a look.
This is not even worth our time. Oh my god. What are they? I mean, what is this? It's not okay. It's not. I was cringing through the whole thing, just like, oh god, this is a mess. Yeah. So I don't care, mind you. Sonic and me. Your bag. I just whatever. This is just another Sega fail as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, the creator of Sonic is crapped on it, so they know.
Yeah.
But not only is the design terrible and the whole it just, oh god, it's Poochie by way of Sonic. There was a committee and they're like, can we Rostify him by 10% or so? I said, that's what it was. He might as well have nunchucks and sunglasses. Anyway, but the whole thing was just so cringy with Gangster's Paradise. What is this?
The song just if you're going to do Coolio for this, I mean, Fantastic Voyage probably fits better.
Stop making sense, Carl.
It was interesting to see Jim Carrey kind of going back to the well, for lack of a better term, kind of, hamming it up in the Jim Carrey of old.
A little bit.
But why in this, Jim? Why's it got to be in this?
I got nothing.
If you want to do another Ace Ventura, just do another Ace Ventura.
People will go, Jim.
I'll go to another Ace Ventura. But I don't know.
I mean, between this and his anti-vax crap, he's really torching that goodwill, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, he's backed off of some of that since he got away from Jenny McCarthy, but still,
people can change. They can improve themselves.
Did you see that picture that Alan posted, by the way, of James Marsden?
Yeah.
In 2011, he was in some other animated...
I think it was called Hop.
Yo, James.
Cyclops.
Fire your agents. Yesterday, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems to be kind of the go-to of we need someone to hang out with something fuzzy and CGI with oddly human teeth.
The teeth are bad.
So I guess he's an alien?
Dude, you're asking for logic where none exists.
I mean, I guess because he said he had to save the people of this planet.
Yep, I heard it. Sure.
And what's up with Robotnik not being fat? He's Dr. Eggman.
No, he's Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, well, you know.
I know. I got nothing. This makes the Bob Hoskins Super Mario Brothers movie look like, you know, like a masterpiece.
To be fair,
yes.
This looks like a better pure adaptation of the video game than the Bob Hoskins Super
I'd say
Mario
they're about
film.
on par in terms of accuracy.
I mean, at least he's folding into the ball, and there's a ring involved.
That's
somehow.
all fine, but at least like the Super Mario Brothers movie was like had a cool production design at the very least. It looked like something, not like Super Mario Brothers, but it looked like something.
The antagonists are both kind of like you can kind of tell Jim Carrey's kind of taking that page right out of Dennis Hopper's book. Yeah, this thing's going to be a colossal train wreck. Predicting,
but maybe that's why it does business.
Maybe
people just
never know.
People just go out to see it because they're like, I gotta see how stupid this is.
Yeah. Okay, so moving right along from that.
Yeah, please.
Drew, as we mentioned, there is a new Marvel film in theaters this week, and oh boy, is it making bank. To the shock of no one, but what is
I don't know.
Still kind of surprising is like how fast it crossed $1 billion globally in its opening weekend.
Yeah.
The next closest film to that was Avengers Infinity War at $675 million. It took Infinity War for like I think they said 11 days to get to 1 billion globally.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I don't think it will hit 1 billion domestically because of runtime.
You might be right. That's my fear too. But
I still think it will. There's a very good chance it will become the number one domestic earning film of all time. It'll knock off Force Awakens. But I think it's going to fall just shy of that one because I think runtime's
a concern. But and here's the caveat: if you looked at how many screens this thing is on.
Yes.
It might as well be the only thing showing at any given theater.
And that's true, but we are rapidly approaching summer movie session season where
what's bumping Avengers out of the theater?
By the time, mid-May rolls around, it won't bump it out of all theaters, but it won't nearly be in as many screens as it is now.
That's fine, but for now...
And that's when the runtime factor is kind of...
No, you're not wrong there. But still, if it has another weekend like it just had... It's going to cruise. And it might.
Very well might.
It might do gangbusters week 2.
It's 3 hours and 2 minutes. And folks, it does not feel like
it. Really doesn't. I was worried about that. It doesn't feel that long. Actually, it doesn't feel that long, I think, because it's paced really well.
Yes.
Which we're going to talk about, I guess. Right when you might start to feel it, the third act kicks in, and then suddenly you don't even care about time anymore.
Yeah. you actually, there's a point
you
where
want more time.
Yeah, there's a point where you never want the credits to roll.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Let this be my Matrix. I will stay here plugged in. So yeah, it's making crazy amounts of money. It's broken pretty much every kind of opening record you can think of. So yeah. Bank.
All the money. All of the money. Just all yeah, those numbers are mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So, all right, that about does it for the news. And folks, as we mentioned earlier, here it is. your official spoiler warning. We are about to give you our review and discussion of Avengers Endgame, in which we will full on spoil everything that happened in this film, discuss it at length. So if you have not seen Endgame yet, this will be a good moment to pause and come back to us after you watched it. If you have seen Endgame, hopefully you will enjoy our conversation. But as you've been warned, so what are you doing?
Nothing.
What, you've got like a secret compartment in your slipper?
Yeah, there's like this plastic thing that it was like it popped out and I'm stepping on it and I ripped it out.
Do you smuggling microchips in there or something?
No, I don't know, dude. I didn't design them. It was a thing. I had to get it out of there.
Okay. All right. So anyway, spoilers, official warning, spoilers starting now. Oh boy, Drew.
Go. Yes, go.
This movie.
How do you want to handle this?
Well, I don't just want to do a chronological retelling of it. We're gonna be jumping around, jumping all over the place. I think it's safe to say we both liked it.
Oh, yes.
I think barring a second viewing, it may be the best Marvel film to date. May also be my favorite Marvel film to date, knocking off Guardians 2. But again, this is barring a second viewing.
Okay. I can't get there. And I say that as someone who loved this movie. Don't get me wrong. And I find the last act in particular to be, hands down, without question, everything you could have ever imagined it to be.
Yeah.
And probably more.
Yep.
And it sticks the landing in just about every single way you could possibly imagine it would. Talking about 22 films and 11 years.
Yeah.
And you get all of that in one act of a film, and your brain melts.
Yeah.
Okay? But leading up to it, I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like a little disappointed. Now, there's great stuff in it.
Yeah.
Great moments.
Yeah.
But I guess I didn't expect a greatest hits reel, and that's kind of what we got.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, so one of the things I actually kind of wanted to start off with and kind of get out of the way were things we may have bumped up against.
Sure.
Or things like little nitpicks we might have had.
Okay.
So yours is kind of the greatest hits, mid-film greatest hits compilation.
Yeah, and I know why they did it. And from a in a way, this is like the way I explained it to a friend of mine. For 11 years, we've been eating at a amazing banquet, and it's just been course after course of just great food, and we're compliments to the chef. We're enjoying our meal. It's been fantastic. Infinity War was the final course, and it was meaty, and it filled us to the brim. And then Endgame is just a big giant slice of cake with a lot of icing. and it's just like, here you go. You have earned this. And that's great. And in the movie, doing the greatest hits, it is a celebration. It's like saying, "Hey, look what we did! Remember, look what we did." Mm-hmm. And that is actually great. It's just not what I expected. I thought as far as like a final chapter, there would be some kind of more singular endgame narrative that closes the book on all of this. And it does have that, but it's so intertwined with the past. Yeah. And again, I get it. It's a celebration.
Yeah. I think, like you mentioned earlier, a lot of the things that like I bumped up against are things that you just kind of got to let go by the wayside. They're ultimately not important.
Well,
first off, and this kind of coincides with what you were talking about, I don't know who came up with their version of time travel, but it does not work, sir.
Yeah, let it go, man.
I know, but like,
here's the thing.
Like, as soon as Nebula shot herself, I'm like, she should disappear from existence right now. She just shot herself from the past, which means she can't go back and play out the events in her life that led her to this moment to shoot herself.
All I will say about that is, number one, no time travel narrative ever makes sense. Ever. If you really
most of them do.
No, they don't. It's an impossibility. It just, trust me. It's just, and the more you think about it, the more you're gonna like talk yourself into it and out of it until you realize, you know what? Maybe Avengers had it right. We just gotta let it go and enjoy the ride, because there is no way to make this work coherently. A lot of people bump up against that. I can do some mental gymnastics to actually make it all work, and I'll even say, if you want it, everything they do is just kind of from another timeline. It just kind of splinters off, and we all kind of come back to the main one, but the splinters remain. The offshoots remain, and don't worry about them. It's hand wavy, but that's all. You know, if you
no, I get what you're saying. So, but yeah, that was one thing I bumped up against. The thing that like kind of took me out of the film the most when it happened is a very small thing. So half the planet's population is gone.
Yes.
It's not global chaos, but like obviously things aren't working the way they were.
No.
Audi's still making brand new cars.
Evidently.
And Tony just kind of pulls up in a brand new 2019 Audi G-Tech.
Well,
I'm just like,
let me break that. Well, Carl,
I can't not be annoyed by this.
You want some bad news? I'll give you some bad news. The bad news is, even in an apocalyptic scenario, the really rich aren't going to be affected too much by it.
Yeah, but you still, in that particular case, the really rich need the really poor to make the car.
There will be,
and the really poor aren't there anymore.
There will be someone to make the car.
So yeah, I bumped up against that. I haven't figured out my feelings on how they treated the Hulk.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
Like, I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to do like the whole Professor Hulk thing.
Yeah.
But that he was like so much smaller.
He seemed smaller.
There was a point during the fight with Thanos at the end that I kind of wanted.
You wanted Savage Hulk to come out and get
I kind of
redemption.
wanted them to do what they did in the comics during the fight with Onslaught, where it was Professor Hulk, and he went to Jean Grey. He's like, "Listen, you got to shut Banner off." And that's what they did, and Savage Hulk came back. So I was hoping at one point he was going to go to like Doctor Strange or something, but like, you got to do what the Ancient One did and astral punch me out so Savage Hulk can do his thing. So, I mean, I
feel you, but at the same time,
I got to watch it again because I'm not, like I said, it's not bad. I'm just not 100% sure how I feel about it.
From that standpoint, I know where you're coming from. But at the same time, he also is responsible for saving the day. He undid the snap.
Hulk did
that.
That's another thing I'm bumped up against. It was like just a couple other little things.
Okay.
I think in this they took away from the snap because everybody was snapping their fingers to get it going. And when you didn't need to do that. Like, I think
it's a shorthand. I mean, it's a visual thing.
I think you have Hulk close his hand to do it or whatnot, and then Tony obviously does his snap at the end and whatnot. But that and what else?
Oh, it didn't bother me at all.
The power of the gauntlet seemed to fluctuate throughout this thing, so it can eliminate half the population of the universe.
Yes.
And bring back half the population of the universe.
It can do anything.
Except bring back Black Widow.
No, can't do that.
Why not?
It's part of the deal getting the stone.
But they've got the stone.
and that's part of the deal.
But they've got it. There's nothing established that says if you bring that soul back, the stone magic goes away.
I don't make the rules.
No, I'm just saying, like, it was the gauntlet in this film at least seemed to be inconsistent as far as what it could and could not do.
No, I think it's pretty.
Like, it's powerful. Like,
I think it's internally consistent. Like, if you want it to do anything, I guess it can, but they have to have some level of like permanence to some of these things.
Like,
and not for nothing.
Like, he couldn't bring Vision back in a way that didn't require him to exist with the Mind Stone. That's like,
who's to say they can't do that?
Well, they can now. They didn't. The new series coming out is not set after
Endgame.
It's
a prequel.
It's set in the 50s.
That's not weird. Okay.
So we'll probably be doing some Wanda magic.
How?
Wanda magic stuff.
All right, fine.
We'll call
whatever.
it that.
I don't really. That doesn't bother me at all. And not for nothing. Speaking of the Black Widow's fate. Yeah. Spoilers. I did not expect her to die, but she did. Kind of a bummer, and yet it makes sense from a character standpoint in terms of what she has to do.
Yeah, it does.
It's fine. Some people are real upset about it, but it's like, I mean, I get it, but
it was done well. And up until the end, I was expecting her to come back when they reestablished her. So that was that.
Let me throw this at you. She has a movie coming out now. We can assume
it's a prequel.
It's a prequel. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But I would posit two theories to you. One, they went out of their way for Hulk to say to Captain America, I really tried. I really, really tried to bring her back. And the implication is, obviously, he couldn't.
Yeah.
But how do we know he didn't? How does he know he didn't?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, these things are open to infinite possibilities.
That's the one caveat.
Okay.
Second caveat.
Lazy, but okay.
Second caveat. You got to kill someone to get the stone.
Yeah.
Steve has to return the stones after the end. Who's to say he can't get a soul back for returning it?
Valid point.
We don't know that, but why not?
I really kind of wanted Steve to be the one to go get the stone because I wanted that Steve Red Skull.
I know.
So,
but he had other cool stuff to do.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty much it for my nitpicks. Now do you have any other nitpicks or things you bumped up against?
Just in general, like there was a point when they start doing the time travel stuff, and I was kind of like, oh, is that what we're doing? All right.
But then they did it so great. You're like, okay.
Yes.
Fine.
Once we got into the thick of it, it was like, all right, cool. Whatever. Yeah. This is all good. In fact, this is better than good. The way you're handling this is pretty great.
Yeah. So, Drew, this has been going on for 11 years now.
Yeah.
22 films. We've loved pretty much all of them. Who would have thought, though, that the one thing these films were missing to make them truly freaking incredible was The Big Lebowski?
Oh my God! The thing,
Thick Thor won this movie
for you. People are a little upset about this.
I don't care. They're wrong.
I'm not going to say they're wrong, but I get it. I understand. But I liked it. It was funny.
I want Disney Plus. Listen, Disney,
you want a Lebowski Thor show?
I want a Thick Thor and Korg sitcom.
Wow.
Give it to me. Give it to me now.
Can we make Korg more like Walter?
Sure.
Does that make
Loki, you're out of your element.
Does that make Meek Donnie?
Quite possibly. Oh man. Just seeing that.
I mean,
and that they stuck with it.
Yeah, I thought once they got back and they were going to go face down Thanos and he gets Mjolnir back and stuff, I'm like, all right, once he lightnings up, he's somehow going to be magic.
They stuck with it.
Yeah, he stayed fat. It was great.
Oh man, that was so great.
I mean, he is a Viking. Like, let him be thick.
He's more Volstagg
powerhouse
than Thor right now.
It's more Volstagg than Thor. Twisted and fat.
Yes. There were like.
I was happy to see Korg again.
Well, yeah, obviously. having seen it now, the marketing in this film was genius.
Yeah, they showed you nothing.
They showed you absolutely nothing.
I mean, you got glimpses, but if you're only going by the trailer, man, you have no idea how much fan service you're in for.
Oh, God, no.
It is pure cake. Like I said, it is just cake after cake after cake. It's just all cake.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like that? Well, here's more of it.
Yeah,
oh, you
I mean,
like that? Here's more of that.
Just, oh, man, there's so many different places.
Where do you begin?
Go.
Where do you begin? Where do you even start?
There's...
You know who's great in this movie?
Who?
Scott Lang.
Yeah.
Unexpected friggin' standout. Paul Rudd in this movie is great.
Well, yeah. I mean, immortal Paul Rudd. He's like, what, 80 now?
Apparently. But he has a lot of great
14.
lines and a lot of great delivery,
Yeah.
and he carries a lot of weight in this movie.
Flick me.
When he turns into Giant Man at the end and punches one of the flying things from Avengers.
Flying caterpillars
That was awesome.
is just, oh, man. The how they handled the opening. You can almost argue the prologue. Of the
Okay,
film.
let's start there because
like,
shocking.
yeah,
Shocking.
because they,
If you go into this movie thinking that you're going to like lead up to oh, well, you know, they got to do the plan and they got to do the thing and then eventually they'll get to Thanos. No. We get there real quick.
real quick. So Captain Marvel is there, and they see that they're monitoring and they see that Thanos uses the stones again.
Yeah.
And so they decide we have no other choice. We have to go try and get the stones and fix everything he did. So, and we get to see, they go to a planet where Thanos is, and we get to see like Thanos very reminiscent of the ending of the Infinity War comics, where he's simply
Retired.
He's retired. He's a farmer. He's just kind of living off the land. He gets a little bit of a gladiator moment in this movie where he's like the hand moving over the crops and whatnot. And all of a sudden the Avengers just show up out of nowhere. And they find, like, they execute the plan that Star-Lord screwed up in Infinity War.
Yeah, more or less.
And then you know, as to say, hey, okay, yeah, Twitter, you raised a valid point. Should have just cut the hand off. They literally just cut the hand off.
Yeah.
And they find that Thanos, the stones aren't there. And Thanos says he used the stones to destroy the stones. And the reason he gives behind it, I felt added so much depth to that character, because it showed that he had the foresight to know that, you know, like you said, all that power breeds temptation. It's
So
like
someone will come.
had this, I had this idea. I did it. It's done.
And it can never be undone.
So to prevent it from being undone, he destroyed the stones. And then Thor,
at great cost to himself, of course, because he's like mangled kind of.
He is jacked up.
His arms all messed
Looking like
up. He's all
Two-Face.
burned up. Yeah. He's really messed up.
And then Thor just aims for the head.
Yeah. That was fast.
Takes his head clean off.
So, like, we undercut a lot of drama real quick.
Yeah,
Thanos is dead.
Yeah, this is in the first 20 minutes of the film.
Yes.
And then we jump 5 years later.
Yep. Oh, by the way, when Tony does get back to Earth, thank you, Captain Marvel, by the way.
Yeah.
He's not happy.
No. He is like, well, he's got that space madness, Drew.
Oh, dear.
He's got the space madness. But, like, once again...
He's been eating bars of soap in the tub.
Once again, Marvel Studios showing, like, DC, you couldn't do a mustache? We can de-age people, and we emasculated, you know...
Emaciated.
Emaciated.
Yeah, it was creepy. He's all like
he's
skeletal.
skinny, and because like at some point I was like, would he be that skinny after just 21 days? But
he hasn't eaten in weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, he is like, and we get a call back to Civil War, right? It was a combination of Civil War and Avengers 2.
Yeah.
Age of Ultron. And he was just like, I saw this coming. I told you this was coming. We didn't do anything about it. We just spent our time fighting each other. And he just kind of quits right then and there.
Yeah, basically. But the rest don't. Not exactly.
Yeah, the rest don't.
I have to assume that they're still doing Avengers stuff in that 5-year gap.
Well, yeah, they show how, the team is now led by Black Widow.
Yep.
It's Rocket, Okoye,
Yep.
War Machine, and Captain Marvel. Which, did you notice, they changed Captain Marvel's costume to be the classic Captain Marvel.
They just flipped the colors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, oh, snap.
Yeah, that was nice. And they gave Carol a quick little look-see at War Machine.
Yeah,
because they're a thing in the comics.
Not sure if they're still a thing, but they're...
But they were.
Yeah.
And that's a quick... I mean, they didn't have to do that, but they did.
Yeah. And
she got her haircut, which looked great, by the way.
Yeah, the new hairstyle looks awesome. So they're just kind of looking after what they can, it seems like.
More or less, yeah. They're taking care of what they can take care of. They're avenging what they can.
Yeah. And then they're, of course, tracking down Hawkeye.
They are.
Lost his entire family in the snap.
Can I posit a quick aside?
Sure.
That hologram scene when Black Widow was checking in on everybody.
Yeah.
And Okoye mentions that there was some big earthquake in the ocean.
Yeah.
And then Black Widow says, "What are we doing about it?" And Okoye's like, it's an earthquake in the ocean. We'll handle it by not handling it. Like, what do you want me to do? It's an earthquake in the ocean.
Yeah. It's not Atlantis.
Given the fact that it's Okoye and she is from Wakanda and there is a notorious enmity between Wakanda and Atlantis, that feels a little wink-wink.
I think,
not saying it is, but it could be.
Yeah, you're getting a little fan theory.
Because she does dismiss it pretty readily, and it seems a little stiff. Why are you so out of hand with this?
I think you're getting a little fan theory there because, it's half the population is gone.
We'll see.
What are they going to fight with?
We'll see. I'm not saying implying they're going to fight. I'm just saying that it felt a little terse over something like that.
Cap's leading a recovery group.
He is, which we have kind of seen before.
Yeah.
He's been in these before. Think about Winter Soldier.
No, I know. It's not something I bumped against, but it's something I just kind of questioned. Is Cap going to be this okay with this? But as you could see, he's kind of putting on a face for them.
What else is he going to do?
Yeah. And interesting little cameo by director Joe Russo.
Yeah. Cap wants to help people first and foremost.
Obviously, yeah.
So him in this role makes sense.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm trying to think what else.
Well, thanks to a rat who will not be named.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille saves everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
Big Scott Lang gets out of the quantum realm, has no idea what's going on. It's been hours for him instead of years. And in a great scene that you didn't even know you wanted, he shows up back at his house and his daughter is aged 5 years, and it's he breaks down and loses his mind.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Great emotional beats.
Folks, if you listen to the show,
emotional beats throughout.
I'm a crier.
You.
I cry a lot. I'll probably cry at some point during this review.
It's very possible.
So yeah, he's back. And then the story starts to pick up momentum.
Sure. We find Hawkeye, who has been apparently deciding that he just wants to kill people.
He just wants to kill criminals. He is Ronin now.
Yeah.
The Ronin garb looked pretty sweet, I'm not going to lie.
It was fine. Get to see it for about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, again, fine.
That's all we needed it for.
That's all you need. I mean, yeah, it serves a purpose. And his rationale as he's fighting that guy, half the population is dead, but you get to live. That's not cool.
Yeah.
That's kind of cold. Oh, dude. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. So
yeah, Clint is broken.
Yeah, Clint's broken. Tony, we find, is maybe
Tony's fixed.
Yeah, as not broken as he's been since the first Avengers film.
I think, if anything, he has found peace.
Yeah. He's living with Pepper in a cabin in the woods, and he has a daughter.
He has a daughter.
And the decision to give him a daughter.
Yeah.
And what happens at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I felt that was just kind of mean.
Yes and no.
Like
Is it mean? Yes, in a way. But at the same time, let's just kind of like, without getting, because we're going to get to like the ending as we talk here.
Yeah.
Everyone more or less gets a happy ending, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tony got his happy ending for 5 years. And then in the end, he made the choice. He had to, okay, in the end, because if we're talking about 22 movies, 11 years, and I hate to say it, in all that time, Tony Stark has been a egotistical, lovable, but egotistical jerk. And he's never really had comeuppance. And he's never really had to make a really hard choice that's actually affected him.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the conversation with Cap in Avengers 1.
He's skated
where
by
Cap's
a lot.
calling him out saying, you're not the one to fall on the grenade. You're
Right.
not the one to make the sacrifice.
And he never did. I mean, he did at the end of Avengers, but he survived. So, like, again, anytime he's skated. He's gotten by.
Yeah.
He has survived in some way, and he's gotten away with basically, Tony Stark has gotten away with it for a long time. Until the end, when he had to make the call. And I think he knew there was no coming back. And he made the call. So he did the most heroic thing. And that's a sad ending, but but knowing what was at stake, he got a happy ending for a while. And that was enough. If he didn't have the daughter, I don't think he would have had that same drive.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. As obviously both of us as parents can attest. Any chance you have to give your kid the world. Yeah, no, I agree with you there. So Tony doesn't want to help, and they go and find Bruce, who's
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk. And it's cool because they did something really cool, and they've always kind of done this in that they acknowledge how smart Bruce is,
right?
But he's not smart in this particular area,
right?
He has a functioning knowledge,
yeah,
and we see that when they're experimenting.
That was a fun scene.
Someone peed the suit.
I'm not sure if it was young me or
old me. I don't know
me.
if it was baby me or old me, or might have just been me.
That was fun.
Yeah, and then Tony shows up. He's like, "You're passing time through him. You're not passing him through time." I'm like,
Tony figures it out over a weekend.
That's an interesting thing to ponder.
Well, the thing about Tony coming back is he still feels the guilt over losing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
he lost the kid. He didn't want to take the kid. But that's eating at him. It's killing him.
Yeah,
I like that. That's great.
And it's funny because like we see, because Tony post Battle of New York,
sure,
he's always been struggling kind of with that PTSD
a little bit. Yep.
It was definitely on hand in Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it in Avengers 2 when he's trying to put a suit of armor around the world and inadvertently creates Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Civil War, like you see him like dramatically overreacting to different things, and he's not without his valid points in those instances, but just kind of the way he does it. But seeing him in this is very much akin to how we were used to seeing him in Avengers or in Iron Man 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
He had the confidence back, and it was much more focused. And obviously, kids can help bring that into sharp focus. But yeah, like I liked this character again. It's not that I didn't like him previously, but it was always very easy for me to side with Cap.
Sure.
So, and I think I really like how they handled the Cap-Tony relationship in this. Is that it wasn't an instantaneous, okay, we're all good now, we're all fine.
No, not at all.
They get to that point.
They do.
But it's very organic kind of the way they got there.
Well, Cap kind of defaults to him in a way.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not going to say Cap admits that he was wrong and Tony was right, because that's not really the way it goes. But Cap, straight up, Tony says, like, "Do you trust me?" And Cap's like, "I do." Like,
yeah,
I trust you. You're going to do the right thing, and I'm going to follow you.
So now we're starting the time travel stuff.
Yes.
We're going through the greatest hits, and we've got just some really. This kind of middle section of the film was the greatest hit section. It was kind of the love letter to the fans, the thank you to the fans.
Well, actually, the
sandwich between like
the whole
two,
third act though is the same.
And they just did some really cool, fun stuff.
Let's see. First place they went.
They went to Battle in New York.
Ah, yes. And that was neat. That was fun. I like when Professor Hulk has to blend in.
He's so demeaning.
He takes off his shirt. He starts like punching the car, and he's like,
"Rawr, smash!" Like, I love how they show like the Savage Hulk of that time just overcompensatingly destroying one single Chitauri soldier.
Yeah, and then Professor Hulk's looking at him like what?
It just seems excessive.
So they're there to steal the Tesseract back post Battle of New York, and also the Mind Stone as well, and the Scepter.
Yes, and the Time Stone.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Hulk goes to get the Time Stone from Doctor Strange, who is not there, but the Ancient One is.
Yes,
that was kind of unexpected, but cool.
As soon as I saw Bleecker Street, I was like, "It's not going to be. Oh, we're going to have the Ancient One."
Yeah.
So, and it's very cool because you see they were participating in the Battle of New York.
Yeah.
And just like obviously Tilda Swinton's back in that character role, and a really great scene because they're kind of. It almost felt like they're setting up the What If series that's coming on Disney Plus.
If that helps you, this whole movie kind of sets that up in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And so they're doing that, and then Tony and Cap are trying to get the Scepter and the Tesseract.
Don't forget Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man. Who gets flicked.
So the Scepter.
Yeah.
This part tickled me so pink.
We got some awesome callbacks to Winter Soldier. Robert Redford shows up.
For one thing, Robert Redford shows up. Rumlow shows up, so Crossbones shows up.
I thought we were going to get another elevator scene. I was so excited.
Oh my god! I was like on pins and needles. Are they going to do it again? Because I'm fine. Let's go.
But then
but it's even smarter than that.
He did the Hail Hydra.
Brilliant. Oh, so brilliant. I was like, oh, Cap is smart.
Cap is smart. And they're doing like some callback to this thing in the comics that we hated,
but in a fun way.
In a fun way, yeah.
Smart way.
Yeah.
So he gets the Scepter, but then stupid 2012 Captain America spots him and thinks he's Loki.
Yeah. Which is fair.
Fair enough. A little cap on cap fight action.
Cap on cap fight.
And
earlier on, Tony makes the statement. Cap.
Oh, that costume, Cap.
That suit did nothing for your butt. He used a different word, which we're not going to use on the show.
But Ant-Man said, as far as I'm concerned, Cap, that's America's butt. And then Cap remarks, that is America's butt.
Yeah, he knocks out 2012 Cap. It just looks at us like, yeah, that is America's butt.
Oh,
it's so great.
I love Cap in this movie so much because he's got a little more layer. Like he's almost got an air of like I'm I'm over this. Like because 2012 Cap says like I could do this all day. And he's like, yeah, I know.
I know. You said we. Yeah.
He's so over it. It's great.
We also, and you know what? It's really cool. Who would have thought like one of the coolest callbacks and one of the more emotional scenes in the film would come from Thor 2?
Right.
Reunion with Freya.
Before we get to that, poor Hulk.
Stairs.
Hulk and stairs.
Hulk
man.
and stairs. Too many stairs. I feel you, Hulk. I do.
Stairs. But thanks to Hulk's loathing of stairs, they botched the Tesseract heist.
Yeah. And then we get
and Loki gets the Tesseract and disappears.
Gets away. So
question marks.
Yeah.
Question marks.
I doubt Loki's dead.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah. So, but no, then the Rocket and Thorbowski.
I love that he gets called that at one point, and it just
Tony calls him Lebowski, and it's great.
And you look at him, and it's like, yes, that's who he is. It's brilliant.
Big Lebowski, God of Thunder.
Yeah, please, yes, I want that movie, please.
So they're in
Asgard proper.
Yeah, and it's during the events of Thor 2, and we get a quick Natalie Portman cameo.
Now,
very quickly.
Apparently, they did not film that she did not show up.
They just took old footage,
but she did record voiceover.
Did she have any lines?
Like 2. And you hear, and she's off screen when she says that.
Okay, yeah.
But Rocket is there to extract the whatever from her, the ether,
and just an amazing scene between Thor and Freya, of him being like, and she sees right away that he's not. I was raised by witches and warlock. I see with more than eyes.
Right. Well, because Thor is obviously suffering from major PTSD. He's got survivor's guilt, and he takes he probably feels an extreme amount of blame for not killing Thanos when he had the chance,
aiming for the head.
Now he's now he's Lebowski.
Yeah.
So
because it's easy to cover up pain with beer, pizza, and Fortnite.
Yes. Apparently. So she kind of tells him, "You're still Thor. You're still."
Yeah,
meant to do great things. Like you're fine. Mom makes it okay.
Yeah,
and while he's there, he gets an old friend back.
We see the return of Mjolnir,
and his remark.
he's holding out his hands, and Freya's just like, sometimes it takes a minute.
He's still worthy, and I think that's a big moment for him.
Yeah,
for all he's gone through and for all the blame he's put on himself. Mjolnir still comes to him, and he is still worthy. That's kind of like that's his wake up call.
That's a very big moment, very nice moment,
but not the best moment with Mjolnir.
No, God no, God no.
Then we're on Vormir with Black Widow and Clint, and rest in peace, Black Widow.
Yep, the struggle back and forth between who is going to
sacrifice
give themselves up.
Yeah.
That was good.
I guess in a way we should have. Well, no, it could have went. It could have went either way with which one it was going to be. But the fact that they set up the film opens with Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And his family, and it's like, you know what? If they're going to pull this off, he's got to come home. Yeah. So it makes sense that that's the way it was going to go.
And we knew going into this film, not everybody was going to make it out.
That's true.
So now, because the Tesseract heist has been botched,
yes,
they figure out where the Tesseract is and where there are Pym particles.
Because they're running, the Pym particle things were running out. And
they were scarce.
Yeah.
So they go back to the 70s.
They sure do.
We get our Stan cameo.
I love it. 70s vintage Stan.
Yeah.
Make love, not war, man.
Yes, Dan.
I want enough said bumper sticker.
I want to see the dimension he's making right now. So they go back to the original SHIELD base.
Yes.
That was in the boot camp that,
In
Cap
Jersey.
was trained at and whatnot.
Where Zola eventually ends up.
Yep. Another Winter Soldier callback.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to get the Tesseract. And Tony runs into his father.
Yeah. See, this part I didn't, I'm sure you got a little saccharine at this point, but this was fine. I didn't need it.
For me, it was... It's going to be different for me than it is for you.
Okay.
Because you still have your father.
Sure.
And your father gets to experience your son.
Yes.
For me, it was harder because it was an opportunity that I'll never have.
Sure.
And it was really well done scene, and I really just enjoyed it, and just getting to live vicariously through Tony, and that was nice.
Well, you get to see him grow up a bit too.
Yeah. It just like
and what's weird about but like the thing about it is in that scene, Tony is a father, right?
Yeah, and
now
like has been a father for 5 years now.
But when he meets his father, it's on the day that he finds out that he's going to become a father. So
No. It's not. You listen to Kevin Smith, and you didn't. Remember, he was describing like how pregnant she was.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
sure,
it wasn't on the day.
But he wasn't a father yet.
No, it wasn't a father proper yet.
So he still didn't know what to do or what to expect. And Tony has to kind of tell him, like,
you find a way.
You'll be all right. You'll figure it out. And
so,
that's nice.
Yeah, it was a really great scene. Then we get like a nice...
I like when he hugs him. He's like,
Thank you
for
your service to our country. It's so
that's
awkward.
Great. Like, do we know that guy, Jarvis?
Yep. We get... Yeah, everyone's freaking out, like, and again, I know you say a lot about this, about they don't care about each other, but like everyone's freaking out. Oh, it's the first time we saw Jarvis. I'm like, no, it's not. That was the Jarvis that was in the Agent Carter show for the longest time.
Go figure out of all the characters from all the shows, Netflix included, that's the one that gets to be in the movie. The
fact that Coulson doesn't show up at this at any point, that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That's the biggest failing of this film.
He
really should have showed up at some point.
at least poke his head in somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
then we get a nice little like pseudo reunion.
Well, hang on,
Cap and
so when they're ducking security in this facility. He goes into an office. He doesn't realize what it is, who's in there. He sees the photo on the desk of the office, and it's a picture of him.
Yeah.
Then he looks out the window of the office. Well, first he looks in the door and he notices that it's Margaret Carter.
Yeah.
Peggy Carter. And then looks through the other window, and there she is. She doesn't see him, but he sees her. And then suddenly, like, Cap, it crystallizes for Cap for a moment.
And you get the sense in that moment that just for a brief moment, he wanted to stay. He was willing to stay.
Yeah.
Just for the briefest of moments.
Yep.
So then everybody goes back to the present. Are there any other time travel ones
2012, Scepter, the Tesseract, the elevator, America's Behind, Vormir. We're forgetting about War Machine and Nebula.
Oh yeah.
And we get to see Peter Quill dancing from another person's perspective, and it's like, this guy's a moron.
So he's an idiot. Because you see him dancing, and obviously the music is playing in his headphones, so the audience doesn't hear it.
Big shout out and tip of the cap, by the way. And I've said this for, I think, every movie she's been in, but this one more so. Karen Gillan as Nebula is a character so good you didn't even know you wanted to see her in more stuff.
Yeah.
She's great. And she has a huge role in this, which
really
I never would have expected.
Shines in this.
Her character's great, and she delivers in a big bad way as that character.
Yeah.
Like, full marks for a character you didn't even know you wanted to see on screen.
Yep.
She's awesome at it.
So, and then this is the kind of the catalyst for bringing Thanos back into the fold.
Yes. Younger Thanos.
Yep.
With his helicopter blade sword thing.
Sure. Because Nebula,
as a robot, well, as a cybernetic organism.
Sure, they recognize that there are two of them at the same time,
connected to the network or whatever.
They can view each other's memories. We'll come back to that later.
Well, they basically kidnap her and put old evil Nebula in her place. The old switcheroo. So the stones are acquired.
They form a new Infinity Gauntlet, Iron Man edition.
It's red.
and they're trying to figure out who's going to do the snap, and ultimately it falls to
Hulk.
Mm-hmm. Bruce. And he puts it on. He does the snap, and there's like the way they show that it worked was really well done.
It was very clever.
It was like all of a sudden you see birds.
You hear birds outside the window.
Yeah, because you forget that like it's not just all human life, it's all life.
Yeah. And then Hawkeye's phone starts ringing.
And it's his wife. And you're just like, oh. And then Ant-Man somehow survives 6 missiles to the face.
Yeah, dude. Like, then that I thought they were like, well, did they just kill them all? I'm like, what just happened?
What?
Oh, real quick. Shout out. Can we pour one out for earlier in the film? Can we pour one out for Ant-Man's taco? All the man wanted was his taco.
I want the Hulk's taco. That is an incredible taco.
Tip of the cap. Yes. And by the way, tip of the cap to Hulk for sharing his tacos.
He's just like, yeah, there you go.
It's just a stupid little scene, but it was awesome.
It was so great. And then he's just like, he's not like frantically trying to save his taco or anything. He's just like, yeah, that makes sense.
And who was it? It was War Machine and someone else?
It was the it's not the Milano, it's the Benatar.
Yeah.
Landing.
But it was
War Machine lands.
Like, and he said like
there's an idiot in the landing zone.
Poor Ant-Man.
Yeah, another thing, big ups to costume design for Rocket.
Yeah, he got his costume,
wearing his
comics
classic comics Rocket costume, and dare I say, looked as good as he's ever looked.
And Rocket, by the way, as usual, is awesome.
He's great.
He's just awesome in these movies.
Yeah.
So we get a new gauntlet. Snap. Everything's undone. Thanos shows up and nukes Avengers facility to the ground.
It's just all the missiles.
Yeah,
all the missiles.
We get kind of a teaser, not quite the same thing as the cover to Secret Wars, but you get Hulk carrying like the full brunt of the rubble over his head, trying to save War Machine and everyone.
And Rocket.
And Rocket, yeah. This is all good stuff. And when the Avengers finally do get outside to see what the matter is,
it's just Thanos.
It's Thanos, and now it's time.
Yeah. And it's Steve, it's Tony, and it's Thor.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just kind of down for the count or contained.
Or handling other business.
Yeah. So Hawkeye's doing his best from Ninja Turtles in the sewer, escaping from the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
And Thor finally Thors up with both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
It's go time.
And this really great fight kind of ensues, keeps going, and like Thanos he does not need the gauntlet to be
he's
more than
capable
how
strong he
of
is.
handling all three of them at once.
Yep.
And it gets to a point where it looks like he's going to shove Stormbreaker through Thor's chest.
Yes. Now, was this before or after reinforcements arrive for Thanos?
This is before. This is all before. And then all of a sudden,
yes, we do a little reversal from Infinity War, where this time Thanos is going to put Stormbreaker through Thor's chest.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden,
well, you see Thor looking. You see him looking for it, and you're like, oh, like he's going to call Mjolnir to save. Like he's going to summon it and whack Thanos in the face. But in deep recesses of my brain, Carl, I knew that was not what was going to happen. But I wasn't sure. I wasn't quite sure that what was going to happen next, and then it happened.
Tell me what happened, Drew. Tell me about the rabbits. Tell me about the rabbits.
Thanos does get hit with Mjolnir.
Yes, he does.
But it wasn't by Thor. Captain freaking America is not just wielding Mjolnir, he's bringing down the lightning and the thunder with Mjolnir. And my theater erupted.
Now, Drew?
I use profanities in front of children, and they use them too. Because we were that excited, because that scene was insane. That is worth the last 11 years of my life, just to see that on screen.
Now, you've been to a couple films with me. You know that should the moment move me enough, I will cheer out in theater.
Yes.
And when that happened, I let out the loudest, like, yeah!
Even Thor.
I was the only one in my theater that did.
Oh,
but
dude.
as soon as I did, like, other people started joining in.
My theater blew up. People freaked out.
Oh, man.
And I might have led the charge, but they freaked out.
Yeah.
And Thor goes, I knew it!
I knew it!
I was a little boy, Carl.
Oh, God. Steve just brings and what I loved about it is it wasn't just like a one-time thing.
No.
That was his...
He's bouncing it off the shield and doing tricks and stuff.
Man.
It is worth every red cent I've ever spent on these movies just for that.
And it was just... Oh, that was so great. And then... Thanos, being Thanos, is formidable, and it's going to take more than that. And he, knocks Tony down for the count and knocks, Thor down for the count. And the last one standing is Steve. Shield's broken in half.
Yep.
Doesn't have Mjolnir. And
Thanos manages to get the gauntlet back, does he not?
Not yet.
Okay.
And Thanos starts to... monologue like all villains do. And while he's monologuing, his army shows up.
Yeah, basically
he's like, I normally, the great line from the trailer is like, I normally don't take these things personally, but what I'm about to do to your planet, I'm going to take joy in.
Yeah.
And then you hear...
Well, basically, remember the Infinity War when he brought a lot of backup into Wakanda to really take down the Earth?
Yeah.
It looked like he brought all of that and more back this time.
It's like he brought all of that, everything that was at the Battle of New York.
Yeah.
Just like it was a full-on global invasion force.
Yes.
And there's just a fantastic shot.
Well, Cap gets up.
It's like a wide-angle shot of just Cap facing down this... army.
He will not stand down.
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be the
I thought
moment,
this was it for him.
I thought it was going to be the moment from the Infinity Gauntlet comic where he tells him, like, as long as one man stands in your way, you do not have victory. And then you hear the crackle of the radio.
Dude, okay, hang on. I don't know why, but I thought when I heard him, like, Cap, you with me? Like, you hear the voice? I thought it was Tony. I don't know why I thought that. I just thought, like, okay, maybe Tony got up because Tony was, like, down for the count or something, and maybe he's getting up and he's going to sneak attack or something like that.
Yeah.
No.
And it's
I didn't see this coming, and that's why it was so great.
I didn't see it coming, and it's something that we've talked about for years, finally seeing. And because this movie is so well executed,
but how it happens
brings us to the moment.
Cap, you still with me?
Yeah.
On your left.
On your left.
I screamed, Carl. I was like, Falcon! And there they are.
And, oh, God, like, the portals open up, and...
As everyone started coming through, people were cheering. Black Panther comes through, people, Falcon flies through, yeah. Doctor Strange walks through, yeah. Spider-Man swings in, dude. People lost their mind. People were going nuts.
It was
everyone who's ever been in these freaking movies shows up. It is bananas. It is magic. It
Black
is pure
Panther
magic.
Brings Wakanda. Thor brings Asgard. It's
everything.
And then everyone just forms up on Cap.
Finally.
You
know it's coming too, and you're just like,
I
wasn't sure, but we got it.
He was like, Avengers.
Well, he screams Avengers, and then he kind of grits his teeth and like, assemble,
and you're just like, oh God, yes.
10 years, 10 years,
11 years,
11.
Oh man, that moment,
worth it.
That moment where everything comes together.
That's what I'm saying. The whole, like the first 2/3 of the movie, I'm kind of like, okay, this is fun, but whatever. This last act, dude, it's just everything. It's everything. It's pure magic. I cannot stress it enough. It's my heart was racing out of my chest.
Mine too.
I was so dialed in right now. Like this is it. This is everything I've ever wanted in my entire life on screen right now.
And just like, and then the battle started.
Right.
And so many moments,
dude,
in the battle.
It's like the Infinity War battle, but more.
Yeah.
Where do you begin?
Yeah, the keep away of the gauntlet.
They got to keep the gauntlet away from Thanos and the Black Order and all those guys came back.
The Black Order's back, and I was happy to see that because those guys are really cool.
Yep. Well, okay, so you got a battle happening. Everyone's doing their thing. Everyone's fighting. It's great. Valkyrie's got the horse with the wings, and oh my god, this is awesome. You get a brief minute with the A-Force with
Ladies' Night. That was such an awesome moment.
In. Let's go.
I love that moment because I could literally hear off in the distance the mouth breathing.
Oh, dude.
Fanboys who think it's just for guys.
Two different people when they asked me what I thought of the movie said like that kind of scene was kind of forced though, wasn't it? It's like, dude, get over it.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
It was A-forced.
I see what you did there. Well done. We get rescue. Pepper gets to suit up.
Pepper gets to suit up. We get rescue. We get
Shuri's back.
Everybody gets a moment.
Everyone gets at least one moment.
The battle in itself is a celebration of Marvel and why we watch these films and why we love these characters. And
right when Thanos is getting his rear handed to him, though, he calls for basically just hellfire.
Yeah,
and the guy, his Black Order guy, is like, he's like, but our forces, and Thanos is like, I don't care,
because Scarlet Witch is handing
oh my
Thanos.
God, she is taking him apart, dude.
She is handling him. She is like, just because Vision is not back.
No,
she knows Vision is gone and he's not coming back. She loved him.
Yep.
And she has an opportunity to make.
She's taking a piece.
Yeah, she is taking a piece. He calls. He calls up for the.
They're about to get nuked again.
Yeah.
But no.
And then, the missiles start coming down, and then the sorcerers create the barriers.
They do.
The protective barriers. But it kind of brings the battle to a standstill. And then all of a sudden, the ship starts shooting up.
Yes. What are they shooting at, Carl?
Oh. Carol's back.
She's back. And that ship is toast.
Yeah. She shreds it like paper.
Ugh.
And then she starts whooping on Thanos.
Now, here's what I like, and some people are complaining about this. I like the fact that she is not the cheat, the cheat code, insta-death, Deus Ex Machina to defeat Thanos in this movie. She gets great moments in it. She saved Tony. She goes toe-to-toe with Thanos. But Thanos he's Thanos. And even she can't take him out.
The film was not built around her, and we know that she's got a large role to play in the future, and we're just going to save that for when it happens. But
she tries.
when Peter meets Gamora again, but it's not the Gamora.
Oh, Peter Quill.
Yeah. He's like, Gamora, he's like trying to be affectionate with her, and she knees him twice.
Yeah.
He's like, you missed on the first one. The second one, you got them both. It was so great.
Yes. So Thanos, spoilers. Duh. They're playing keep away, but he gets the gauntlet.
Yeah. He gets the gauntlet, and just like Tony looks at Strange, who's holding like a tidal wave back.
Yeah.
And Strange just holds his finger up and goes, one chance.
Yep.
And he's earlier in the battle, Tony asks Strange, he's like, is this the one we win? Is this like what you saw? He's like, if I tell you,
it won't happen.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
So, and Strange kind of tells him, like, Strange knows what he's thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells him, like, we have one chance. Mm-hmm. And so Tony jumps on Thanos, and Thanos easily kind of dispatches him off, and then snaps his fingers, and you go,
well, correction. Let's get this scene right, because this scene is actually great. He just says, you try and stop me. You think you can stop? Yeah, you can't. You cannot stop me. I am inevitable. Snaps his fingers. Nothing happens. Looks at the gauntlet. The stones are gone.
Tony pickpocketed him.
Cut over to Tony. The stones are now mounting themselves into his Iron Man hand.
Yeah.
It clearly, he feels it like immediately. And he just goes, I am Iron Man. Boom. Now, I didn't know what the hell he was doing with the snap. Like, okay, we're going to snap again? Like, you already saved everybody. What are you doing now? And then Thanos' forces are dusted.
Yep. And it's just like you're seeing it, and you're seeing just like the sense of relief comes over. Like, okay, it's over now, and I think they handled Thanos's disappearance.
For a minute I was like, well, you spared Thanos?
Yeah. And like he's not like monologuing or anything like that, because he knows he's like that's it. So he just kind of sits down and
takes his armor off and sits down and poof,
lets it happen.
Dusted
to dust. And then that sense of relief is replaced by when you realize, wait, the gauntlet has a negative effect on the user.
Yeah.
And oh god.
See, I wasn't, I guess because I expected it. Spoilers.
I expected it too, but that didn't make it any easier.
I didn't. The actual death scene was well handled.
I thought it was going to be Tony or Cap.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it being Tony makes sense with symmetry. It all started with him. It all ending with him.
In a way.
In a way, makes sense.
But he's basically catatonic.
Yeah.
Like, he can't speak. He's all messed up. And Gwyneth Paltrow, Oscar-winning actress. And I'm not trying to crap on her. But once again, our boy Tom Holland has to come in and steal the show.
She did fine, and it was
fine, but man, Peter losing it kind of got me.
Yeah,
for two reasons. One, when Peter comes back and Tony finally sees him in Infinity War, Peter's all huggy on Tony, and Tony's like, all right, get off me. This time he sees Peter and immediately like hugs him. Save the kid. And Peter's like, oh, we're doing this? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this time Peter realizes that's it. It's over. And he loses it. It.
It's rough. But we get we get a very good epilogue. We get numerous epilogue. They gave us a Lord of the Rings half an hour worth of endings, which is what I wanted.
Yeah.
We see Tony's funeral.
Dude, whoever designed that shot or storyboarded it or whatever, give them an Oscar.
Yeah.
It starts on it's brilliant.
It's very much out of any number of comic book issues in which funeral's happening.
But the way the camera moves around.
Yeah.
It starts on Iron Man's arc reactor from the first movie.
Yep.
It pans over to the Iron Man characters, so Jon Favreau, Gwyneth Paltrow. Then it pans over to Cap. Then Thor and the Asgardians.
Yeah.
Then the Guardians. And like in Wakanda.
Yep.
And it like it's like look what this reactor, the stupid arc reactor, look what Tony has built. This whole
kid from Iron Man 3 was there.
Yeah, dude, did you know who he was though? I didn't.
I did. As soon as I was like, oh, that deep cut.
Yeah, I didn't know who that was, and I was like, who's that kid? I want to know. And then I had to look it up. But like, they showed everybody. It's like, look how far we've come with all this stuff.
And then it finishes on
Nick Fury. Yeah,
I was like, Fury, where have you been?
There he is. It's that shot was incredible. Just again because it's such a representation. Like, look at this. Look at all of this. It started with one stupid movie, and one cameo and a post credit that got everyone kind of hyped. But we weren't sure this could actually happen.
Yeah,
and it's been happening.
Yep, and then we see Scott Lang and Hope.
Yep,
with Scott's daughter.
Jon Favreau.
Oh, dude, that scene, like
with his daughter, with Tony's daughter,
you get you all the hamburgers you want.
Gut punch.
Yeah. The Guardians picked up a new crew member.
Yeah. How's this gonna work?
God, I hope we get Thick Thor in space.
Thor is in the Guardians now, kind of. Or he's at least sleeping on their couch.
Yeah.
Because he's left New Asgard to Valkyrie.
He's left New Asgard to Valkyrie. It's gone off with the Guardians. Peter is back in high school.
Yeah, which I have to assume all of his friends also were dusted.
A good amount of them, at least.
Because otherwise it's going to be weird when his friends are 5 years older than him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a valid point.
I'm not going to let that bother me.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just going to point out that that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You're right. What else?
Well, then
I'm trying to think of the ancillary ones before we get to kind of the main.
That kind of covers everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Then we get to...
Cap's got to return the stones.
Cap's got to return the stones because they have to go back to the point that they were taken, which I'm not going to go into that as far as time travel.
Don't worry about it.
And they say that it's going to be 5 seconds for us, but he can take as long as he wants.
Right.
And he's supposed to show back up on...
Right back on the platform.
The platform, whatnot. Yeah. And he goes, and the 5 seconds passed, and he doesn't show back up. And
by the way, he took Mjolnir with him, too.
Yeah. Well, he had to bring it back.
Or whatever. Or he just wanted a little backup.
Yeah. So and at first when he didn't come back, I was like, oh man, he went back and went with Peggy. Didn't want to come back.
You got there right away?
Yeah, that's why I figured.
Oh, see, I thought, again, this is all happening very quickly. In my brain, like, oh,
they're just taking him out of the game till possible return or whatnot.
Right, like Cap's lost somewhere, and then down the road, maybe we can find him.
Yeah.
Well, no. That's not to say they can't do that.
Right. That's time. As soon as you open up the can of worms of time travel,
all bets are off.
But just ask the X-Men.
We do. They do you one better.
Yeah. Sam turned around and sees someone sitting on a bench and walks over, and it's Cap.
It's Cap. But it's Joe Biden Cap.
It really is Joe Biden.
It's weird.
It really is.
He looks like him. It took me out of the movie for a little bit.
But
he's old.
He's old, and like he's just like I tried some of that life Tony was talking about.
Yeah, he took all the stones back.
He did what he had to do, and then the most unselfish character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, took one for himself.
Yeah.
And he went back and he married Peggy.
Well, I like how
with her.
they do it though, where he shakes Sam's hand and you see the ring.
Yeah.
He doesn't even say it, but you see his ring. You see his hand. You're like, oh. And then Sam goes like,
about her.
Tell me about her? No, I don't think I will.
Keep her for myself. And we have the
handoff.
Handing off the shield.
Yeah.
And I think it was a really nice moment because we've always been kind of wondering, like, is it going to be Sam? Is it going to be Bucky?
Right.
And we have this nice moment where Sam takes the shield and he looks back at Bucky and Bucky's just like,
do it.
That's you.
Yeah.
And I think that works out really well, and I'm really excited to see, what they do with that.
I mean, the show makes it. Doesn't that show take on a whole new meaning now?
Well, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And again, I just do hard traveling heroes. That's all I want that show to be.
It was a great handoff.
It was really great. And then we see the flashback to
40s,
Steve
50s.
Finally getting that dance.
This is the point in the film when I basically was a teary mess.
Oh man, it was so great.
I make no bones about it.
It was so great.
You give me Cap and Peggy back together as a happy ending for Captain America. I'm done. I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I was Toy Story 3 level of tears.
Yeah. And so credits roll.
That's the end.
And very much unlike, they did a really, I think, smart thing in not having a mid or post credit scene.
This is the end.
Leave it.
Felt final.
Yeah.
This is not a tease for something else.
Own. We've come to the end of this chapter.
Yep.
And granted, and we were talking about this before we started recording, at the end you hear the hammer.
Yeah.
And I think that, that's could be taken any number of ways. I don't think it means Tony Stark is coming back. I think if at most it's Marvel saying Tony Stark may be dead, but Iron Man is not.
And that's one way to look at it. I just look at it as kind of being like a wink, wink. Like, hey, this all started with this.
Yep.
And now it's over.
So, yeah. Just masterfully executed. Not flawlessly, but masterfully. It's the ending that we all wanted. And it gave us even more than we don't even know we wanted. It was just, I definitely need to watch it again. It was absolutely incredible. And just, I know we're going long. This is one of those episodes.
It's very rare.
Yeah.
Endgame comes but once a lifetime. Probably.
Yeah. So now this is not the end of Phase 4.
No. Far From Home comes out soon.
They announced that Spider-Man Far From Home, which comes out in July, is the official end to Phase 4, which I'm sure we will get our
some stuff will
post-credit stinger and whatnot.
Sure.
But at the same time,
I just had an idea.
I don't know if they honestly they could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if they went either way. After Spider-Man, just give it a couple years.
Oh, you're not going. No, you're not
coming out with films again.
You might get a year.
It wouldn't surprise me if they did that.
You might get a year, but you know Black Panther's coming. You know Doctor Strange 2 is coming. You know the Black Widow movie, Guardians 3,
Captain Marvel 2.
It's all going to happen. But Shang-Chi is happening. The
Yes.
Eternals of all things is happening. I'm not going to get too. We can talk about this later, but where they go from here. But I will say that there doesn't seem to be the same connective tissue going forward that we had when all this was put on the table.
Yeah.
Cap, Iron Man, Thor, I know what you're doing. You're doing the Avengers.
Yep.
Now, I don't know.
And that's the exciting part about it.
It's exciting, but I almost think like, you know what? You guys you've done something that is unprecedented and dare I say, will probably never be done again.
Probably.
You have built this thing, 22 movies of a thing, and gotten people so invested in it. And you just hit a grand slam home run to cap it off. I don't know that you're going to be able to do that again. So maybe you don't need to start planting those big seeds to build towards another mega crossover event. Maybe from here on out, you just do your Marvel movies. You cross them over here and there in the movies themselves with characters as you need to, and we roll on. Because I cannot fathom doing this again with the same level of success.
Yeah.
It would just seem forced and
well,
tack.
give
I
them
don't know.
another 11 years and her 22 movies.
Sure. Who knows?
Who knows what they can do?
I'm just saying, as I sit here right now, given what we've seen, good luck. You know, it's from here. It's going to get crazy.
So
I had an idea just now,
What?
now, sitting here.
What's your idea?
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Yep.
We have the movie. They go to Europe. We have a little adventure.
Yeah.
Spoilers: Spider-Man probably wins.
Yeah.
They come back to school. Maybe they take a summer off. They come back to fresh next day, senior year maybe.
Yeah.
Class, we have a new student. Johnny Storm. Credits.
Oh, yeah.
Then suddenly my whole point about not needing to cross over again gets thrown out the window. Because then I'm right back.
Yep. I'm back. Oh, yeah.
Peter and Johnny are boys.
God,
Wouldn't that be something?
that's a friendship that doesn't get enough spotlight. And
Maybe it's time.
yeah. Oh,
Anyway, sorry to get your hopes up, but just came to me as we were sitting here.
oh, wait. Class, we have a couple new students say, this is Johnny Storm. This is Bobby Drake. Spider-Man is Amazing Friends!
Whoa.
It was originally supposed to be.
You just blew my mind. Wow. All right. Let's not get our hopes up.
What's this new school they're talking about opening up in Westchester?
For all the theorizing that we did and all the talking we did about how they're going to do the X-Men, Fantastic. Yeah. I'm glad that they treated this as no teases, no gotchas. Mm-hmm. This is it.
Yeah. So, all right, folks. Whew. How long are we at right now?
About 2 hours.
2 hours? All right. It's
That's
a chunky
fair.
one. Because we had a lot to talk about. Yeah, you earned it. All right, folks. We thank you very much for joining us again. If you would like to, you can send us any questions, your reactions to Endgame, your theater experience. We'd love to hear about it. You can send all this stuff to the following locations. You can follow us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can like our Facebook page on facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. Drew, that being said, any closing statements?
We've said so much. I'm just going to say it one more time for the record. Love Captain America.
Yeah.
I really love Captain America.
I do too.
And they did right by him, and that makes all of this so worth it. To me.
Yeah, it was great. It was really great. All right, folks. Talk to you next week. Court.